Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review for tonight's show. It is, of course, the Newcastle United against Manchester City preview with me, Alex, and Billy Bob. Before we get cracking, as usual, guys, if you do enjoy tonight's show, stick a like on it, please. Very, very important. We keep those coming in on the channel. And, of course, if you are new, click the bottom right-hand corner on the logo, click subscribe, come and be part of this incredible community as we head towards 27,000 subscribers. You can also become a member of the Toon Review if you do so wish by hitting the join button just underneath the three of us. And, of course, you can super chat the channel and make a donation by hitting the $sign at the bottom of the live comments. That will also guarantee your comment to be read out on the show as well. So thank you for all that. Good evening, gentlemen.
Didn't happen.
Couple of days off and refreshed, ready to go again, guys. And obviously a big game at the weekend against Manchester City. I'm nervous, I have to say, about the game. I have to be honest. Our midfield isn't what I want it to be for the game. But, hey, you never know. You never know. Davey, I've sent it, mate. I don't know whether you've got it or you haven't, but I did send it. But I'll double-check, mate, after the show. Now, what we're going to start is on Darren Eales, because I think this has caused a little confusion, a little worry, a little euphoria, shall we say, amongst the fans, talking about FFP, etc. But Alex, you're going to try and put sort of a logical spin on things so that people aren't sort of panicking about selling our best players and things like that. And, you know, because I think there is a lot of worry going around about the fan base that we're going to have to sell in order to buy. Which a lot of people have said about FFP anyway. But what's your take on it, mate?
Well, he didn't specifically say that we would have to sell a big hitter like Isak or Bruno. He didn't specifically say that. He referenced, so he said, we have seen a lot of examples of this elsewhere. Coutinho at Liverpool, and they brought in Alisson and Van Dijk. And then he said Grealish going from Villa, and they have reinvested and reloaded. Declan Rice at West Ham. It's just the nature of the beast. So, fine. He did technically reference some high-value players in those clubs. He didn't specifically say that we were then going to have to sell our bigger assets. Coutinho wanted to go to Barcelona. They offered them a ludicrous amount of money. Wasn't it like 140? It was ridiculous. Yeah. And that was ages ago. They offered 140 mil ages ago. 140 mil now would be insane, but back then. It's like somebody offering us 200 for Bruno now. If somebody offered 200 for Bruno, I think most people would say, yeah, okay, that's enough. Like, I don't want him to go, but if somebody offers 200, that's in my book, that's enough money. And it's the same sort of Grealish. He'd taken Villa as far as he could in that phase. He wanted the move. They offered a more than fair fee and 100 million for somebody. You know, it was fair at the time for him. And who was the other example? Rice had taken West Ham as far as he could in that sort of project, and he wanted to move on to pastures new. I think the situation with our big hitters is a little bit different to that. We can kick on from that. Obviously, Liverpool was different. They were always going to try and kick on. They just got offered a ludicrous amount of money for a player. Whereas with us, we're not in that position. We could sell others before we sell big stars. We've got a lot of players out of contract on somewhere between 35 and 50,000 a week, and we've also got some saleable assets. You know, there's players like Joe Linton who are starting to get a little bit older. I'm not saying I want to sell Joe Linton because I absolutely do not. I love him, but you've got Miggy as well, who is a saleable asset. Burn, you could get something for. There are certain players on the books that we could get something for. So it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to sell a massive star. It's just a little bit, because he's alluded to Grealish and Coutinho specifically. Everybody makes the direct link that we're going to sell our equivalent of those. It doesn't necessarily mean that.
No, it doesn't. But you know, it does. You do look at the players you've mentioned there, Alex, and you think, well, how much can we get for these players? Because we're not going to get the same amount of money that you're talking about a Bruno or a Botman or an Isak or one of those sort of big stars, are you? I think that's what's worrying the fans the most is the fact that let's take Longstaff, for instance, now, Billy. We're not going to get a lot when Longstaff is playing like he is. He's not going to be the financial value that maybe he was.
No, but there's a premium for English players as well.
Yeah.
We've all seen how Sean Longstaff can play. I think people will kind of brush over the recent form and see how we see it as just not being up to standard speed yet. I think we'll probably get 30 million for Longstaff, maybe 35 million. He's an English player. There's a premium on it. Wasn't far from the England squad. Yeah, I think we can probably
it's
get
probably
30,
worth 20, but I agree. You could probably get a bit more.
But the problem is if we're maybe looking to do that in the summer, for instance, and his form goes right out the window for the second half of the season, that is going to depreciate his value. It's only natural. They're not going to go pay big bucks for a player who has struggled. And let's face it, he's had more off games than he has on games this season, although we know what he's capable of. I know that other fans have also, responded to this very, very quickly. The likes of the Arsenal fans, etc., talking about Isak going there. And, I've just seen a Liverpool fan in the chat saying, please give us Isak. We'd appreciate it. So there is going to be, I think if other fans are looking at it, Alex, then other owners are going to be looking at it thinking, are they having to sell a player in order to keep that build going? If so, is there an opportunity for us to pinch one of their big stars?
Well, it's not going to be pinch. It's going to be they would need to pay an amount which would be useful to our rebuild or continue the build. It's not going to be, what did we get for Isak plus add-ons is probably going to be up to about 70. I think it was like 62, but raising to something more. Mm-hmm. If they offered us a bit more, like 80 or 90, they're going to get told to go fish. Absolutely no chance. They're going to have to offer us through the roof. And if they do offer us through the roof, hell yeah, take it. If somebody wants to go and drop 120 on Isak, absolutely take it. And then we could go and reinvest that in the entire squad. And we'd be able to push. We wouldn't have the issue we're having right now, sort of in the Champions League and with fatigue and depth. And if we get ravaged by injuries, we wouldn't have that issue because we'd have, the backups, all of the backups going down to sort of Richie and Dummett levels would be of raised quality and we wouldn't have the issue anymore. It's about rebuilding the entire squad. So another thing as well to factor in, this also depends on general income, and we can increase our income in different ways. So this is what Darren Eales, I think, probably should have alluded to, unless he's been clipped out of context and he did say more. I would have to check. It's their job to also sort out commercial deals. There's no training kit sponsor. We've got no stadium naming rights yet. We can still call it St. James's Park. Put something in front of it. Put something on the training kit. Put something on this kit, that kit. Get some cigar sponsors. Get some pillowcase sponsors. Get some Jaguar sponsors. I don't care what it is. Go and find something else.
I think cigar
we sell our top players
is out the window, mate.
Well, I'm pretty sure Man United.
I know what you're
sponsorships. So,
I know what you're alluding to. Yeah,
but there are other avenues.
Yeah, but about that revenue again. The revenue that isn't including Adidas or Seller, remember. So we have that to add on next year for revenue. So that will make a vast difference. But if you noticed about the accounts, one thing that really disappointed Billy, I don't know if you've seen it, but the money made on player sales is, well, I mean, it was 3 million quid. I mean, that just says everything, doesn't it, at the moment, that because of the contract certain players were given from the previous regime.
Yeah, I mean, we're still paying for his kind of tenureship, aren't we? Even with the FFP, because there was no kind of sponsorships and things like that coming in. It was all paid. It was all his advertising free, so there was nothing there to come in. And we're still suffering for that now. Plus the ridiculous contracts, length of contracts and things like that. I mean, you can't sell the players. Yeah, we're still suffering for his tenureship even now, which is, I know we don't want to remember him as in any shape, way or form, but the stench of Ashley is still cruel all over us, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think it's very interesting because, we keep looking back at the takeover and what Dad said and said that it eventually came out that it will take a while to get past this previous ownership, Alex, because of what Ashley did to the club. It's going to take years on that side of things. to establish ourselves with financial revenue, etc., because of what he did at the club. It's all right us succeeding on the pitch and playing better on the pitch, but there's an off the field side to it as well, isn't there?
It's I'll tell you what it is. It's one little period of time. It was that period where he offered a bunch of contracts and contract extensions to people that it wasn't warranted for. So Dwight Gale, Jamal Lewis, Jacob Murphy. At the time, I understand Jacob Murphy's improved. However, at the time, I'm pretty sure Jacob Murphy's contract runs till 2027. That's absurd. That's absurd. We're only in 2024. He's still got another 3 years on a contract that wasn't given by this ownership. That was someone else's. It's ridiculous. Like you got Hendrick, Hayden, Gale, Jacob Murphy, Jamal Lewis. You got a bunch of people that were on 35, 40, 45k a week that got ludicrous extensions to contracts. That's what's hamstringing us right now. That's the issue. Because that's good wriggle room, if I can speak. Wiggle room. There you go. There's the words. That's if you get two of them out the door, that's 80, 90, close to 100k per week, which actually goes and gets you a much higher quality player. That's the salary for them. But we can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
I don't want to be mean. They're human beings, and most of them are really good servants of the club, and we appreciate everything they've done. And there are some that are still contributing to that, like Jacob Murphy's been really useful since the takeover, and he's a great player. However, there's a bunch of them on that wage range that we just need. Ashley did that they locked us into these contracts. That's the main issue, and there's no resale value on them.
Mama Stato is in the is watching tonight. Good evening to Stato's mother, Jeanette. I hope you're well. She says, Alex, what is pasture? It's pasture. Niall says, playing devil's advocate here, we have Bruno's replacement in the squad already in Tonali, but I don't want Bruno to be sold. A lot of people, well, Looney Tune thinks that maybe Darren Eales wasn't talking in a hypothetical nature earlier on. He's basically preparing fans and softening them for the blow when it comes to selling a big star. But the problem is, Billy, we've seen it with the elite teams in the past. If you want to progress and you want to be one of the elite teams, then you are going to have a turnover of players, including big stars who will move on. We bring, big stars move on. We bring in big stars as well. It's just a rotation. And
let's not forget, our biggest star would maybe unable to stop him from going anyway. If the right bid comes into the right club that goes to his release clause and he wants to go, but there's nothing we can do with Paolo to stop it. So, I think he might be just kind of getting people ready for that if and when that happens in the summertime.
Look, at the end of the day, we'll just have to see what happens. It's interesting that, Darren Eales has come out and said what he said. A lot of fans will take it one way, fans will take it others. Fans are worried about losing the better players. But I think, we have to wait and see because, Bruno's come out and done an interview in the last couple of days, explained how what a wonderful club Newcastle is and how happy he is here. Him and his family are very settled. He loves playing for Newcastle. He wants to win things with Newcastle. He's reiterated that numerous times. So even if, somebody comes in and swoops in for the release clause, that doesn't mean that Bruno is going to, jump to it straight away. The final decision, Alex, is going to be Bruno's if his clause is met.
Yeah, they're going to have to offer the club and the player something ludicrous. And that's great. It's testament to the fans, to the region, to everyone, because they love the region because of the people in it. Whether it's the school teachers, the schools, the friends they've got, their neighbours, whoever it is they come into contact with on a day-to-day basis, they all absolutely love it, and they've completely bought into the culture. Foreigners constantly mock English food, culture and things like that, and it's not quite as traditional as it once was. However, we've got a lot of people who have come from sort of South America and different places in Europe that have massively bought into it, love the culture, love the people, and they've got Geordie children who go to school here. They absolutely love it. So if you're going to pull them out of the club in an important phase of their life, you've got to remember these are guys sort of mid to late 20s in the peak of their powers, highest earning potential in their career. They've just got their family established. Everything's in place. if you want them to suddenly uproot their entire life, it's going to have to be an amazing club and a butt ton of money. So, and that's great for us because for them to shift players like that, they're going to have to give us a big chunk of change. It's not going to be as cheap as some fans think. You know, they think they're just going to swoop in and take Isak. I don't know about that.
Herbal, thank you very much for joining the stream. Herbal is a Manchester City fan. Cheers, all Newcastle fans. Good luck and may the best team win. We'll be coming with everything we've got, so you better be ready. Yes, we better be ready. But we are coming on to the game now. By the way, just before we start talk about Man City game, the FA Cup game against Fulham is now confirmed for Saturday the 27th. And that will kick off at 7 p.m. and it will be live on ITV4. But it will also be live right here on the Toon Review. So you can watch it on the telly and listen to our commentary. It doesn't get any better than that. So that's all confirmed for the 27th of January. And then 7 p.m. kickoff. I mean, any thoughts on that, lads? I'm a little bit surprised we're on telly, I have to say.
It's an all-Premiership tie, isn't it? And
yeah,
I don't see any kind of massive joint-killing potential there, so I'm not surprised, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think hopefully we get through. But let's move on to the Man City game now. And of course, yes, you know, Newcastle ladies are also against Manchester United on Sunday. Now, we are just seeing if we can do a match day live for that, which I think we will be. So we will probably do a match day live for that game. It is a huge game for Newcastle women, and we'd like to give them a bit further exposure on this channel as well by doing a match day live for them. So you could get, Saturday and Sunday match day lives this weekend, which will be tremendous because it's a huge game for the ladies. And we hope that they can put up a good performance and see how Becky's team get on. But we'll announce that later on in the week. Well, over the weekend, I guess. Now, Billy, Manchester City, one player that we are without definitely is Joe Linton. And I think Joe Linton's absence could sway this game. I think I'm certainly not as confident as I would be if Joe Linton was playing.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. We're going to be weak in the midfield. It's going to be the same midfield that played against Forest and Luton. Doesn't kind of bring lots of hope to us, does it? That Man City are now getting their squad back. Kevin De Bruyne is now fit, I believe. Erling Haaland is also fit. Haaland, I should say.
Yeah.
So they're coming at full strength versus. I think only John Stones missing. Could be a long old afternoon for us.
Yeah. I mean, Alex, we have to be brutally honest and say that this game is going to be a tough one for us because of it would be tough anyway. But Joe Linton's absence has maybe added a little more to that. Manchester City, they have had some strange results this season. However, they are still a fantastic side. Elite, as you many times put it. They are normally very good in the second part of the season as well as they charge towards the top of the table. I'm expecting them to come out with all guns firing. So we've got to be at it. But are you, like me and Billy, worried about that midfield on Saturday?
Oh yeah, massively. It's not. Yeah, I'm not particularly optimistic about this game, but it is frustrating that I feel like a full strength us can challenge them on every front. We've tried it early doors this season. We tried to be a little bit more respectful and try and grab a. I think Eddie didn't want what happened last year is we just tried to match them and we went 3-1 in front, fluky goal to get back into it, and then we ended up with a draw. And I think in this tie this season, he wanted it very much to be a tighter game. He wanted to try and be more rigid in defence and try and sneak a win. And unfortunately, we got undone by a piece of world-class play from Phil Foden in that game. So he's tried it both ways. We drew one, we lost one. And I just think this time, we just haven't got the tools. I mean, we're lucky that we have had a bit of rest. We're playing one match a week, so the lads will have a bit more to give in this game. Yeah. But we're nowhere near full strength. I've just looked. We've got 9 players unavailable, including Tonali suspension. All but probably Mankia you could consider first teamers. We're just not got enough. They're the treble winners. They just won the Champions League. There is no shame in this being a tough game and a probably lose game. But you never know. They might have an off day. A few players might be out of position. They might hit the bar. We might have a couple of players who have a great on-form day and things go in. It's definitely possible. It doesn't mean we can't win the match. But everybody is going to have to play out of their skin because we're missing a few important elements of this team. Joe Linton being a huge one in terms of wingers as well. We've not got Maxi to suddenly have a great day. Can we always rely on Kieran Trippier over the wall? Not necessarily. You can't rely on that all the time. He's a fullback who takes free kicks. We've got to rely on trying to win the match outright. We'll give it a good go, but you guys have already hit the nail on the head. The midfield battle is going to be really tricky, and if we start Miley, he's going to have to do some growing up very quickly. And he's played some big games, so he's got it in him, but he's going to have to really, really up his game for this one. Yeah.
Derek says, question, has Eddie got the appetite and or the nous to change the system? I fear not. Look, Billy, this could be one of the games where you look at the midfield and you think, right, you mentioned there just before the Luton and Forest games, and we just, it was very, very poor, to say the least. Is this a game where maybe Eddie Howe could or should change the formation to suit us better with the players that we've got fit?
I don't know the words, but free hit comes to mind to me. He can try something, certainly.
Yeah.
No one's expected us to win the game, I don't think. There's a potential there to do it.
Yeah.
It would certainly. I don't think that Pep would be expecting it, and he probably wouldn't care anyway. He'll just play his team as he always does. But just to ruffle the feathers a little bit, maybe try something different. I don't see it happening personally, but I'd like to see something different. I must be honest, because I don't think we're going to win the game or even compete in the game with a midfield of Miley and Longstaff. One of them's going to be out on the left-hand side. Neither of them can really play there. So it kind of just leaves us a man short anyway, really.
Yeah. And the thing is, Alex, if we have a spell like that with the three midfielders in there like we did against Sunderland when Joe Linton went off, if we have a spell like that against Man City, you're talking a very, very different outcome.
Oh, yeah. We can't leave gaps like that or they'll put 5 past us. Absolutely. Like that could happen. We've got to be really, really careful. In terms of the formation change, I don't think it's likely. I think it was going to be. I think that was the plan this season. We showed it in pre-season. He tried a double pivot with 5 behind. He did a 5-5-2-3. He tried in pre-season against Chelsea a few times against Brighton. He played around with Bruno next to Tonali, changing counter-attacks sort of in possession, out of possession. He played around with a few different shapes in pre-season, presumably for situations like this throughout this season we're playing, maybe for the Champions League. He wanted extra options, and then because we've been so injury ravaged, he's just not had the opportunity or the personnel available to try those shapes. So I think Saturday would probably want to be one of those games where he'd have a pop at that, but we don't have the personnel. Because to play that kind of midfield, you need a certain type of player. And I don't think we really have anybody to... I don't like putting Bruno and Longstaff next to each other in that too. It might work. And then 5 at the back, play on the counter. I don't like it with the personnel currently available, especially with just getting back from getting a bit of sort of stamina back in the legs, and it's going to be a lot of high intensity sprints on the counter. Gordon's going to have to work his absolute socks off. So is Isak. So I feel like when it gets to sort of 60 odd minutes, they're not going to have much left to give.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately not time for tinkering and formation changes, even though this was probably the plan at the start of the season. It's just not happened.
Billy, you look at the game itself and you think, right, we've just come off a good win against Sunderland. Confidence it will be good in the dressing room, no doubt about that. But it's certainly coming back down to earth with a bump against, taking on Manchester City. What I think a lot of fans hopefully accept is they want to see us go and put a performance out there and at least give it a go. If giving it a go isn't good enough, but we see the effort, we see the passion, the commitment that we've seen in the past from Newcastle United, then I think certainly from my point of view as a fan, I'd be happy with that. What I don't want to see is silly mistakes, passing all over the place, giving them too much respect, and parking the bus, which I'm worried that Eddie might just have those sort of tactics like we had against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, I mean, don't often see it at St James's Park, I must be honest, but with as Alex says, as the personnel missing, he may be forced into a more defensive shape. The thing is, we've got a front three, and I'm including Miggy in this on his day, that can fight anybody. And Gordon and Isak can, most weeks of the season, can cause trouble to anyone at St James's Park. And Miggy, if he's on form, and he certainly was against Sunderland, if he continues that, it will cause the Man City back four, bearing in mind that generally all centre halves, barring Walker, we can get at them. But it's whether we have enough of the ball to create the problems. And this is what I feel. I think Man City, they keep the ball and they don't let other teams use it, really. You've got to really work your socks off to get the ball off them. And once you do get it, you can't be profligate with it. So, I'm not very optimistic, I must be honest.
I mean, look, we've seen in the past that, we've gone into games thinking they'll just have a bit too much for us. But then the game starts and suddenly, we're right in it. And I just hope that is the case again on Saturday afternoon, because I think, or tea time as it, kickoff. But I just want to see us give it a real good go and try and get something out of the game, which I think we will, because Eddie has always said he always goes to win games. I think I was disappointed in the Chelsea game, as we saw. We scored, and I feel like we could have gone on and got another goal before we sat back and tried to see the game out. I thought we could have scored a second. Man City, though, is very different when you park the bus against them, because I think they could play around anybody. To be honest, if we try and park the bus, we may as well give it a go, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of it's not about necessarily giving it a go. I think that's just the default. It's about taking our chances, because we're not necessarily going to get as much as of the ball as we want. Again, with more players available, we probably could try and wrestle some more possession, but we're not in a position to do that right now, especially without Joe Linton. He would help break up play and get the ball back for us. We just haven't got that. So we're going to have to be more clinical. We know certain players get chances. Isak gets 2 or 3 good shots a game, generally 2 or 3 shots. He needs to be clinical with at least one of those. Gordon with a breakaway, a couple of link-up passes, passing sequences on the counter-attack needs to go correctly. They need to make sure they're on the same page. Yeah. We need to make it count. We need to make corners count more in this type of game. We need to take more advantage of set pieces. None of this hitting the first man on a corner or a set piece. We need to be putting it into dangerous areas. There's no excuses when you've got players like Lascelles, Botman, Byrne. Isak's 6'3". Don't care how bad your aerial win rate is. You're 6'3". Get your head on the ball, lad. Like it's as much as we want to talk about skills and stats and tactics. If you're 6'3", head the ball. We just need to make these. It's the simple things. You get your 1-2s right. Run your socks off. Try and at least test the keeper. We've just got to be really, really clinical, because we're not going to get much of the ball.
Now, the thing is, Man City, though, they do give you chances. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty, well known. Kenny's saying there, Luton put 2 past them. They do give you opportunities to score. So I think this time around, Billy, we have to take our chances when we get them. We cannot afford this time to keep missing opportunities, which is why I think this game is a huge one for Miggy Almiron, because we said that, maybe he's been a little off form because he's played a lot of games, which he has. That's fact. This game on Saturday, I'm particularly interested in seeing how Miggy plays, because it's an opportunity for him to prove to not just me, but a lot of fans that he is good enough to play against the top level teams. And he's going to be one of the, senior players on that pitch who's been at Newcastle a while on Saturday. So are you expecting to see, are you looking at Miggy in a particular way? Or I just think, like Alex has said in the past, maybe playing the elite teams like Man City is out of his reach. And that may be another worry.
Well, he'll be lined up against centre-half, so, he should really have whoever's against him, whether it be Ake or whoever else plays out there, sometimes it's Guardiola. Mm-hmm. Should have them for pace, for certain, so he should be confident of that. It's just whether he's predictable enough. Too predictable. Cutting in all the time. Have a go on the outside of him 2 or 3 times, early doors, just to unsettle him. And then if he does that and gets confidence, then he can start skipping inside 3 or 4 times on the trot, once or twice on the trot. He's just got to be a little bit more kind of hard to kind of distinguish what he's going to do. And at the minute, he's not. And I think Premier League's fullbacks have sussed him, to be fair. It's that obvious where he's going. If he starts to just vary his game a little tiny bit, put a bit of doubt in the defender's mind, then he can become what we had last year from him. But until he starts doing it, he did against Sunderland, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
Let's hope he continues it.
Miggy provided 2 brilliant crosses against Sunderland on his right foot, right? Absolute beauties, which had we had somebody in the middle, had tap-ins because they were that good. That's something we haven't seen from Miggy is crosses like that on his right foot. Now, does that mean he's putting more focus in training on getting down to his right-hand side and getting the ball across? I think, Billy, you're right. I want to see that from him. Put them crosses in again, and that's all he can do. If there's nobody in the middle to finish them, questions need to be asked about the other players. But it's not just Miggy that's missing easy chances. Longstaff gets an abundance of chances nearly every game and can't find the back of the net. Isak is sometimes a little bit hit and miss. Anthony Gordon gets opportunities. So it's not just Miggy. Those forward players need to put the chances away when we get them, Alex, or we will be punished.
Yeah, I mean, the beautiful segue from what you've just said there, and a few people have asked it, is there a stat about how many big chances we've missed?
Yeah.
So you'll love this. Out of the 20 teams in the Premier League, first on the list for big chances created is us. 70 big chances. We've created more than second place Liverpool with 66. So we've created the most amount of big chances in the league this season. Big chances missed, we're third. We've missed 36 of our big chances out of those 70. So we really need to be more clinical. Obviously, you can start breaking those down chance by chance looking at XG, but we're not going to do that. It's just generally, we just need to be a bit more clinical and a bit more ruthless in front of goal, and less of the deer in the headlights. The amount of times we've missed from 5 yards out, the amount of times, so whether it was Longstaff, whether it's leaning back, a close header, whether it's Fabian Schär or Botman missing by a whisker, we just need to have a season where we're a bit more clinical with our chances. Because our chance creation, we're really good at it. We work the chances very, very well. We're very patient. And people don't like it, but this is the whole point in playing inverted wingers, retaining the ball, working the opportunity. We've got the most big chances in the league. That's how Eddie Howe wants to play. It works. We're just not being clinical with it. Not clinical enough, anyway. We could see it was working earlier on in the season. That's why we put so many goals past people.
Yeah. Susan Fagan said there that, at least Longstaff makes good runs. And I agree with that. He makes brilliant runs, but he's got to learn to finish them on a consistent basis. It's all right in making the runs, but if he doesn't finish them at the end of the day, then, what you kind of look and say, well, he's making the runs, but he's not converting. And we need somebody who's going to convert them. He can do it because we've seen him do it. He's made them runs and finished them off before. And that is what we need to see from Sean a lot more, because he does make them good runs. He does create opportunities. It's just his finishing is a little bit hit and miss. Paul Gardner says Longstaff is pants. I don't think he's pants. I think he's going through a terrible run of form, but he needs to improve. And again, Billy, Saturday is huge because Longstaff has an opportunity to stand up and say, right, I've been poor for a few weeks, and I think Sean himself will know he's been poor. So a massive opportunity to get stuck into that Man City midfield and prove a few people wrong.
Yeah, but let's be fair to Sean Longstaff. He's been playing out of position for most of the time. He's been back since injury.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
He's not a left. He's not a left side of midfield player. He's a right side. That's where he performs his best. That's where he performed his best was last year. And last year, when he was at his best, he's one of the best English midfielders in the Premier League. There's no doubt about it. And when he was injured, we missed him and lost games without him being there. We missed him. And this season it's been the same for a lot of it. Until he got his injuries, he was performing pretty well. What he's got is a massive engine. He covers ground, and you need players like that on your side. Technically, he is getting better. He was getting better for sure. But again, since he's been injured, that seems to have gone out the window a little bit. I've got every confidence in Sean Longstaff coming good for us. And the thing is, he's got to play on that right-hand side midfield. Otherwise, he tends to disappear and not be seen as much. But on that right-hand side with Miggy and Trippier, it's a nice little triumvirate they've got there.
Well, I hope he comes good because, listen, he's a Geordie at the end of the day. He's a homegrown player. And surely as fans, we want these homegrown players to do well. Yes, we will criticise when they play badly. Of course we will. That's just being brutally honest. And what's the point of doing this if we're not going to be honest about player performances? But Sean Longstaff, I hope he comes through and gets and gets out of this little rut and becomes the player that I think Eddie Howe thinks he is as well. And really, it wasn't that long ago, guys, we were screaming for Longstaff to be in the England squad. So he can't have deteriorated that much, all right? He's having a terrible run of form. He's not playing well. But I think Sean will know that more than anybody as well. And Sean will want to get better. What I think Sean has to do is be quicker on the ball. He's just too slow at the minute. His brain's not reacting quickly. And players are able to tackle him very, very quickly lately because he's just not been quick enough on the ball. And I think if he was a little bit quicker, then that would be half the problem sorted, I think, Alex, because he just gets knocked off the ball easy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he gets knocked off the ball easily. I think it's just that he's sometimes a little bit slower, as you said before that. It's sometimes he thinks he's got an extra half a second that he hasn't got in this league. And he did improve it. He needs to get it back. Again, it's what we see with Bruno. He's quicker with his decision making, the movement of the ball, the protecting of the ball, the shielding of it. He knows where the players are coming from. His scan rate is through the roof. He's constantly looking over his shoulder, left, right, and centre. It's something we noted with Toon Army. They're always very aware of their surroundings, whereas Sean, less so. I mean, there was the famous moment between him and Ryan Fraser a couple of years ago where they both just forgot to take the ball with them. I mean, their awareness of their own surroundings is not always the best thing. But he's better at other things. He's got a great engine. So, it's and just for the record, I didn't think he should have been in England in terms of the starting lineup, but it was back when Henderson wasn't playing and had just moved and was struggling a bit, and Calvin Phillips hadn't played any football, and they both got call-ups to the overall squad. I thought that was rather unfair. I thought there were players like Ward-Prowse and Longstaff that deserved to be on the peripheries of the squad. Not necessarily starting, but getting at least a call up so they could get maybe capped or go and experience being with the squad. That was very unfair when those two weren't playing football.
Do you have any graphics tonight, Alex?
I do indeed. Yeah, I've got a few bits we can go through.
By the way, just while Alex is getting that up on the screen, I think us as fans, we have to be very sort of honest with ourselves and think that, if we're going to be the elite team that a lot of fans want us to be, we are going to lose players, guys. There is players going to leave, whether you think they're good enough or not. I just with Sean's case, I think Sean can be a very, very good squad player for us still, but we'll see. Take it away, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, there's the injured and suspended list if you want to see it. I mean, Zach Steffen, John Stones, and Holland. I'm assuming he's probably going to be fit for Saturday. Is he? I don't see why he wouldn't be.
I've heard nothing saying he's not going to make the game. Yeah, he might, he may start Alvarez. He may put Haaland on the bench, but I think he'd be back in some sort of fashion anyway.
And then we've got this lovely long list of pretty much entirely first teamers. Manquillo obviously wasn't playing. Matt Targett was rotation, and then the rest were first teamers. Ideally, Murphy would rotate with Miggy. Barnes was bought to be a first teamer. Anderson was getting a run of games. Wilson's a first teamer. Willock's a first teamer. Pope's first choice goalkeeper, and Tonali's a first teamer. So they're all pretty much first teamers. But we knew that. So
I think Elliot Anderson's fallen off. He must live on a flat earth, Alex, because I think Elliot Anderson has fallen off it.
Well, I mean, we did get quoted 8-ish weeks, didn't we? I think there were some numbers floating around with 8 weeks originally.
I don't trust anything we get quoted on at the minute.
No. 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was probably, when was it? When did that happen? Because it was
that long ago. I can't bloody remember. Billy had a beard.
We'd have to go and have a look, but he's definitely got to be due back soon. Again, it's something that the journalists need to say instead of just saying, "Oh, Eddie, have we got any updates on everyone in the squad?" No, ask some questions on specific players.
Well,
you've got the time
press
to do
conference
that
in the morning, so we'll
I
get
hope
here
so.
again.
I hope somebody asks about Anderson.
Exactly. 11 o'clock. Sorry, 11:15. 15 minutes later than normal tomorrow morning. I'll be covering the press conference live, so join me for that one, and we'll hopefully have some better questions asked to Eddie Howe. Take it away, Alex.
So this was obviously the game. Nobody's mentioned this yet, so I thought I'd bring it up. I mean, we did beat them recently. We beat them in the cup. And they played a fairly strong lineup, in my opinion. They got Kovacic, Jack Grealish, they've got Alvarez up front with a World Cup medal, and they got Gvardiol, the most expensive defender in the Premier League, with Ake, Akanji. You know, they've got a lot of big hitters on the pitch. They rotated just as much as we did. Of course, we are without Joe Linton and Tonali, so that is a shame. But Miley played in that game, so he has played against City for us and did very, very well. Livramento, of course, put in that ridiculous performance. And then, if people have forgotten, that was the game where Dummett and Lascelles were brilliant together, the centre halves, and actually did a great job. It wasn't Dubravka in goal that game; it was Pope. Lewis Hall was solid as he was against Man United in the other cup game, and we won the game. Isak got a goal, we won. So we've done this, we have done it. Then we had a pretty much similar age squad, 25.6, 25.5. We both rotated and we won the game. So, and it was at home. There's no reason why we can't do it again, apart from the fact we're missing Tonali and Joe Linton. But we'll have a good go. We'll definitely have a good go. I mean, there's no point in looking at average positions because we're missing most of those players. So in terms of our team statistics, I just thought I'd show again. We're still joint first for clean sheets, which is madness considering how far we've dropped off. They're struggling, even at the top. Their defenses are so leaky. XG, we're third in the league, and then here was what I was mentioning earlier. We are first in the league for big chances created, but third for big chances missed. So we've created loads, but we've also missed loads, as have Liverpool. Liverpool are a project, and Chelsea. You can see basically these are the three project clubs in the league. Albeit maybe not Arsenal, but Liverpool have just gone through a massive rebuild. They got rid of Fabinho, Henderson, loads of players. They've just done a little rebuild. Chelsea have done the biggest rebuild in the history of football, and we're going through a huge phase and a change. And it's quite funny how we're all up here with chance creation, and then we're all bad at them as well. We've missed the most. So just an interesting one. In terms of our actual game, where is it? I mean, we've got no predicted lineups from anybody, so I'll bring you to the tactics board. I thought I'd put the funny shape on the screen because why not? We always look at the 4-3-3, so I thought I'd put the other one up. Is this going to see the light of day again before Tonali returns, or is this an absolute no?
Oh, did you know? Why not?
Well, yeah.
I just thought I'd throw it out there. Why not? Instead of looking at the same shape again and again, we know what that is. Do you reckon this sees the light of day?
Probably not, but do you know what? I think it's a good idea that we do, because I think just to put ruffle the feathers a little bit. They wouldn't be expecting it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have the stars in the 6. I'd have Share there, but
yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking because he has used Lascelles to basically man mark Haaland before. So
that's true. That is true.
You know, it could be either or. I'd put Lascelles central just for the long balls, unless they try and drop. Do we have a ball in there? I'm pretty sure we have a ball. Yes, we do. Let's get a ball. Unless they try and actually drop a ball in that, because they used to do this to us last season. His teams used to catch us by dropping a little bouncy ball that had bounced about there in between Cher and Trippier, and they'd both go oh, and we'd get punished occasionally. So, but I don't think that would happen in a back five. I know people hate back fives. I know we've got horrible, PTSD from Rafa and from Bruce. I know, but back fives, they exist in football. They're not always terrible. It defends. See, goat father straight away. Low block formation. No thanks. Yeah, I know, but they're not all bad, and they can be used in certain. The
problem
times.
is, Alex, I quite like it. Okay, but I'll be brutally honest. I think if he, I don't know what you guys will feel on this, but I think if he went with that formation, that means parking the bus. I generally do feel like that because, although we've got 3 centre backs there, I'd still expect one of those 2 midfielders to come back and help out as well. It means we've got little up front. Livramento and Trippier will find it very difficult to get forward because of Man City's intense press. So I don't know. I do think we need to try something different because oh dear, Burns now.
Sorry, I mean I've got to put the default formation up, haven't I? Just for everyone. What's it going to be? Where's Miley? Miley, where are you? There you are. I mean, he's probably going to do it that way around, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would think so too.
So I'd say that's probably the other most likely thing. And then the disputable one is Burn or Livramento again. And then what else is there that you can change? Unless Hall makes a surprise start and plays somewhere.
Jay Devlin says an Eddie Howe turd is better than a Steve Bruce one. One of those bendy buses would be handy. Rachel says, I agree, Paul. That formation is parking the bus. Mike says, would this work considering we already get run through midfield and that just makes us weaker there?
People keep knocking the wing-back formations. Brazil won the World Cup with a wing-back formation.
Yes, Alex.
It depends how it's implemented.
Yes,
it
but
really
does.
does.
Mate, that's Brazil. I mean, come on. We've got Dan Burn. I mean, it's not
But
Brazil,
Dan Burn
mate.
doesn't have to play. We've got Livramento. That
No,
can play
I
as a
agree
wing-back,
with that.
or Lewis Hall.
And you could give me... look, I think we need our best players on that pitch on Saturday. And our best players includes Livramento.
I agree completely.
But do I think he'll start? Nah. I think he'll go with Burn again. And I think he'll be punished for doing that. Because I think we do need Livramento in that side. I mean, Billy, I don't know what you think, but I think Burn can play the likes of Sunderland, or there is a peak to where Dan Burn can go to. But when we're against the elite sides, we need the elite players, and I class Livramento way ahead of Dan Burn.
Well, Man City have got a Dan Burn on 3 or 4 occasions, haven't they? As I remember, I think the goal at the Emirates, at the Etihad, was through Dan Burn's side and a little ball inside 12 res. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure that Dan Burn will play on Saturday. I think Livramento will play.
What was their last use?
You got a super chat, Paul, that you missed.
Yeah, I know. I've got it started. Don't worry. Usman, thank you for your super chat. He says, crazy idea. Sign an elite right winger in January. Convert Miggy into the greatest overlapping left back in the league. Please feel free to laugh at this if you disagree.
I mean, there is an alternate universe where Miggy is an insane wing back. I agree. I would never try it, but I'm sure it works.
Fair, Steve Bruce tried it.
Well,
yes, he did, and I'm sure somebody's tried it on Football Manager somewhere as well. Just trying to convert him, or on FIFA or something like that. Try to convert him, but I don't think that would ever happen in a million years.
That's their last formation and 11 in their last Premier League game. That's what they last used. So you've got De Bruyne and Haaland to slot in there where you wish as well.
Well, normally it would be, I think, would De Bruyne play for Kovacic?
Yes.
So you've got Rodri and possibly De Bruyne. I mean, wow. And then you look at...
They'll probably play Doku out wide as well instead of Grealish.
Yeah. I mean, Grealish hasn't played too well against us this season, has he? I mean...
He struggles against us because he
struggles against us. But I think... I mean, look, Rodri and De Bruyne, and you've got Miley and Longstaff.
Look at the quality of depth there.
I mean, it's frightening. It is frightening.
What was their bench on this game? Oscar Bob, Diaz, Rico Lewis, Calvin Phillips, De Bruyne was on the bench. Mateus Nunez, I forgot he even existed. They just buy extra depth that's really good. It's just absurd. So they can.
I mean, I fully expect De Bruyne to start. By the way, on Saturday, I think he's had it. Has he been on the bench once or twice? But I think he'll start. He won't play I doubt he'll play the 90, but I think he'll start. Usman says, Paul, spot on. I converted him in my Football Manager to left wing back, and his pace provided 8 assists in 24 games.
That's better than what he provides from a forward position.
I'm pleased you said it, Billy, and not me. But there you go. Wow. I mean, listen, it's frightening. You look at that and you think, Jesus Christ. But we have put up good performances against Manchester City. I thought, I just it's difficult with that midfield. If he goes with the 4-3-3 and he plays that midfield, I can see us easily getting overrun in that midfield. And that's what worries me.
I just want to have a look at Phil Foden.
I mean, this bloke he's
got more goal contributions than Isak.
He's sensational. He's just a sensational footballer.
Yeah.
And how he's not the pivotal with Bellingham for the World for the England side, I'll never know.
Yeah, he's just bonkers. He's got six goal contributions in the Champions League, 11 in the Premier League. He's got more goal contributions than Isak. He's absurd. He's still only 23 years old.
Best English player by a long way. Well, apart from Bellingham.
Yeah, him and
Bellingham. I think we've got 2 absolute stars in Foden and Bellingham, to be honest.
2 proper league players.
He's 23 and he's a 5-time Premier League champion. That is absurd.
That's absolutely crazy. That's absolutely mental.
Unbelievable.
But listen, a lot of that, I have to say, a lot of Foden's progression has been down to brilliant management by Guardiola with him, because Guardiola doesn't stick him in every week. Certainly in the early start of his career, he was used as a substitute a lot of the time. He was blended in very slowly. Guardiola knew what he had, took his time with him, and that's what. See, that to me is an elite manager who.
It's what worries me with Miley. It's what worries me with Miley that we use him so much and he's going to burn him out. Now,
well, we've had no choice, have we? We haven't. No choice.
We need to nurture him much more like Foden was with Pep.
If anything, I feel like a Gareth Southgate conversation coming. I'm really sorry, but Foden, Bellingham, and Harry Kane. There are no excuses. No, you've got the Real Madrid golden boy. You've got the blimmin' Man City golden boy. So the two best clubs in the two best leagues at the moment. They're both the best players. And then you've got Harry Kane, who's just stepping over Germany like it doesn't exist. He broke last year's top scorer record. He'd beaten it by like November. And we're not even finished. We've still got 5 months left of the season.
Yeah,
like there's no excuses not to be winning everything. You've got John Stones, who's the Man City centre half.
There's also no excuses for him to drop deep and play balls to himself because we've got Foden and Bellingham there.
And you got Rice, who is one of the best in his position and what he does as well. There's no excuses. We've got to be winning a trophy, otherwise Southgate just doesn't deserve any praise.
Martin Brophy, thank you for your super chat. He says, "How many times have we hit the woodwork this season?" 4. I mean,
I'm gonna have a look. Probably quite a lot.
Yeah. I would have thought it's quite a bit, yeah. But I like coffee. Says Southgate will still play Jordan Henderson.
Apparently 8.
Is that all? I thought it would have been around 12 actually, but it's still quite high. 8 times is quite.
What SofaScore says anyway.
Yeah. Well,
we've got 7 left-footed goals. That's a lot, considering we've got like 1 left footer and Dan Burn. So two left footers. I'm counting him as well. But
Isak can hit it with his left as well, can't he?
He's got 7 goals with the left foot, 27 right footed, and 5 headed goals. 4 penalties.
Well, listen, I don't care how they go in.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Speaking of that, 0 free kick goals so far this season. Man City, Kieran Trippier ?
Over the wall.
I mean, he's hit a crossbar recently.
We've got to see better. We've got to see better free kicks and corners against Man City. We have to. We have to take these opportunities. If we get free kicks around the penalty area into the box, we've got to see an improvement in actually getting on the end of them. It's no point Trippier putting them into a great position and nobody there, or it's no point Trippier firing into the first man. We have to do better. And, hopefully we will. I mean, what do you think, Billy? Where do you think Eddie will have been mainly working on in training this week?
Defending, I imagine it'd be stopping counter-attacks and not getting sucked in and going forward.
Yeah.
Because Man City will cut through you like a knife. If Nottingham Forest can do that to us, Perry's thought what Man City can do. Because they're an insane side, much, much better than Nottingham Forest. So I think it's been a little more solid when we were attacking, not to be so gung-ho. Attack fine, but not in the insane amount of players that we have been doing at home, certainly against Forest. We're going to have to be solid, and I'm not sure we can. I'm not sure we've got the quality to be that solid against Man City.
Well, we will find out in just a moment, because now it is the team predictions. Now, what we're going to do is, instead of predicting what Eddie Howe's going to do, we're going to predict what we want to see. What is the 11 that you want on the pitch? And then we'll see how different it is when we do the match review. Alex, we'll start with you. What is your 11 for Man City?
Well, Nick Pope.
No, you've got to be out of the fit players, you dill.
Gordon Banks, surely.
Why not? Yeah.
Dubravka. I don't know why I had to think about that. Dubravka. Kieran Trippier, right back.
This is who you want, Alex, not what you think is going to be on the pitch.
I want to play the funny shape, to be completely honest with you. I'm going to say it. I'm going to have a back 3 of Botman, Lascelles and Cher, and Livramento on the other side. And I'm going to say it's a 3-4-3, just so people don't think I'm being hyper negative. On paper, it's going to look better. and then it's going to be Longstaff and Bruno, and then Miley in there as a rotation, and then the front three is Gordon, Isak, Miggy. That's what I would want. That's what I would want to see.
Billy?
Yeah, I agree with what Alex says, actually. I think I'd like to see a change. I'd like to see us go 3-4-3, not 5 at all. 3.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If he does put that lineup out on Saturday, it won't be a 3-4-3, and I think we all bloody know it won't.
But it never is when you're being attacked anyway, because that's how it works. It's a fluid formation, isn't it?
Yeah.
You attack, and you've got 4 in the midfield and 3 up front. That's how the formation works. So yeah, I agree with that. Exactly what Stato says.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not going for that formation because I'm dead. I think it would be parking the bus. I'm going for Dubravka, Trippier right, Livramento left, Botman Share in the middle. Obviously, the three of Bruno, Miley, and Longstaff simply because it's all we've got. But up front, I would like to see Miggy and Gordon swap sides. I know it's never going to happen in the month of Sundays, but this is what I'd like to see. And obviously, Isak through the middle. But time will tell. A lot of people in the chat tonight have mentioned about Fabian Schär playing as the number 6. It's not going to happen, guys. It's simply not going to happen. He's had many, many chances to play Schär in that. He's played there before, yes, under Cabachid, but
he's not got the agility for it.
Nah, not for me.
It looks like he has, because when he brings the ball out as a centre half, he's got that extra time. Think about the sort of pressure Bruno gets under in that position, and how little time he has to react. Schär can't do that. He looks great because he's got the extra time because he's a centre half, and then if somebody comes to press him, he can release the ball. Whereas Bruno just has to be in the right place and do the right thing and be really quick with it. It's a certain skill set he doesn't have. Yeah. It's not that he's a bad player, but you want to try out, let's experiment to play our centre half as a 6 against Man City. And I'm getting pelters for changing the shape. And can I just say as well about the shape, what's the difference between what me and Billy have suggested as setting up compared to what we do when we do our own low block of a 4-5 and then just Isak running around in circles? What's the difference?
4-6. Sometimes it's 4-6.
Yeah. So even the formation that we all think on paper is a 4-3-3, when we sit back, it's just a bank of 4 and a bank of 5, and then a striker just running around like a headless chicken, not winning anything. That's the same thing, surely.
Right, Clarky. Paul's going for a boring, predictable 4-3-3. Well, instead of just having a dig at me, Clarky, why don't you actually put what your formation and team would be? You don't come out with anything saying what you do. Eddie Howe comes here regularly for tactical inspiration. I mean, you're quite happy to put the little jibs in and jabs, Clarky.
He's jesting.
I know he's jesting, but it pisses me off. Jesting pisses me off at times. Put your team, Clarky. Anyway, right, let's do the score predictions before we pack it in. Alex doing the fishing rod, by the way, or I will punch you in the middle of the face. We don't condone violence on the channel, by the way. It's all in jest. Right, Geordie Boy, thank you for your super chat. He says, I'm cutting the brakes on the bus and we win 2-1. Well, I mean, let's not resort to that. I mean, we don't want to lower ourselves to the Evertonian type of fans. Clarky says he already did 3-4-3. Open your eyes. Well, whatever. Right. Here it is. Let's get your scores in the chat. Let's see what you guys think. Oh, dear. Redfire says 5-0 to City. Peter Griffin 3-0 to City. Nathan 3-1 to City. John Rowland 3-1 City. Derek says, Head says 2-0 to us. Hart 2-0 to Man City. Or head to whichever way around that is. I don't bloody know. Clarky says his formation would result in a 4-3-3 after 1 minute of the game. Cushy's going 5-1 to the Toon. Cushy, get off whatever you're smoking, mate. Interesting. Right, Alex, score prediction.
I think we're going to score a goal, and Isak's going to do a football and score a goal. And then I think Man City are going to score 3 more goals and we're going to lose 3-1.
That's exactly my prediction as well. I just think it's too much for us. I do. But you know what? It's only a score prediction. By the time that kicks off on Saturday for us doing the commentary, it is going to be a brilliant game. And, I expect us to turn up. I want to see us turn up. That's the big thing. Billy, what are you going for?
Yeah, I'm not very optimistic. I think it'll be...
I'd never have guessed that, throughout the show.
I think 3-1 Man City also.
Right. Oh, wow. I think that's well, we don't always predict the same score. I think that's a very
the only thing I'm kind of wavering on is whether we get one or not. That's the shittest part of it all.
Oh, jeez. Let's move on. Right. Shows coming up on the channel, guys. Tomorrow morning, of course, 11:15. Join me for the press conference reaction. I'll be live 11:15 tomorrow night at 7:00. It is Face the Lads, our fan forum show. You get the opportunity to come on and put us right. If you disagree with anything, get yourself on the show. You don't need a camera, remember. You can just use your audio if you don't want to come on camera and have your say with us. Spend a few minutes with us telling us how you feel about Newcastle United and put us right on anything you disagree with us. Usman, thank you for your super chat. Billy, what flavour is your vape?
I'm on cherry.
There you go. And then, of course, on Saturday, 5:00, it is Match Day Live. So join us from 5:00. Kickoff is 5:30. We'll bring you all the team news and build up to the game. And then after the game, Billy and Stato will do their Patreon and I will do the YouTube reaction. So lots of content coming up on the Toon Review. So if you are new, guys, do subscribe. Come and be part of this incredible community that we have. Don't forget to hit the like button as you finish the stream, guys. And if you're watching this on a rerun, please do hit the likes, guys. It's very important to the channel. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to our super chatters tonight. Very kind of you. Thank you to Billy and Ali. Ali? I'm calling you Ali McCoy now, mate. There you go. New name for Stato. But thank you to you guys out there. Tremendous support again. Nearly 1,000 watching tonight. We really, really do appreciate it. But thank you very much, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Good night.
And we're the lads and lasses.
Come back and check on some green.